Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. This is LR Omega. LR Omega is, I have definitely decided that he is the worst release of the year, 2023. Rock bottom. LR Omega could have had a very profound impact on villains in the game. There's very small changes they could have made. This guy would have been a really, really big deal. But they just flat out... in order for him to be super, like, effective, to be very good, like, you have to use him on a GT Boss's team. I mean, we could just, like, let's just not even play around. By the way, notice the friend is, like, 69% with no equips and stuff like that, right? Like, it's just, like, I mean, it's impossible. Alright, well, we do need... So, obviously, we're jumping into Fusion Zamasu, and it's like, you know, you could say, like, oh, well, it's not fair, the fight is really tough, and... You know, you could say stuff like that, sure, but, I mean, this is, like, the beginning of the standard to see, like, okay, like, how can characters do, right? Like, we would jump into this fight, and, I mean, here's the thing. Omega needs to be used on the GT Bosses team, right? Well, here's GT Bosses. We just get, like, completely slapped instantly. If, now, this is a pretty big if, there is no super attack that we have to deal with here, or if we dodge it, we potentially could be in business. I mean, we'll be able to get to Omega on the next rotation. Now, the one very positive thing I will be talking about with Omega in this video is that Omega does, I think, have very good animations. I like his animations. I think they look pretty. I love them. All good stuff. Super? Baby has his dodge, so... No? Okay, well, hang on. Hold up. We may be in business. I mean, if we got the majestic no super turn from Int Zamasu, we could be in business here. Okay. Looking good. I think Frieza has dodge, I think. Oh. Yeah, so, nah, we ain't that lucky. Dodge. Oh my god, we did.
Mio, これがすべての邪悪流の頂点に立つ俺様の真の姿。
Alright, so here's LR Omega. Now, of course, I mean, you guys know I'm not allowed to play the game without the game spitting in my face. So, we don't exactly have great opening rotations right here. I have 50 Big Bad Bosses characters, but they're all, like, spread out very far from LR Omega. Omega, of course, is a character with his link set, right? I mean, he has several links, including Shadow Dragon, Big Bad Bosses, that are going to give him a huge amount of power. Now, we're going to be able to revive here, so that's going to be pretty good, the fact that we'll be able to get our revive, because Omega can't really do damage at all until he revives. And, I mean, Omega's design is actually just, like, it's so bad, because, oh no, well, the cord is also pretty bad, too. Cord, work with me. There you go. Omega has to do... What is it? 8 attacks. He gets 20% attack with every attack performed, up to a max of 150%. I have no idea what the F they were thinking with that. 8 attacks? 8. He doesn't have built-in additionals until he revives. Hello? 8 attacks? What? This is foolishness. This is like buffoonery. 8 attacks. He gets damage reduction per rainbow orb. I guess it's possible we live this turn, which we don't want to do, if the 17s dodge the AoE. What's much more likely to happen is we're going to revive, which we can if HP is 50% or less at the start of turn. Then we'll revive with 70% HP. Yeah, there we go right there.
SHENRON の得意技だったな。今楽にしてやるぞ。 もうこの星の運命など考えなくていいようにな。
Alright, well, at least we got Omega's revive animation early in the video here. Now, in my experience, once you revive against Fusion Zamasu, he either does not AoE or he AoEs in slot 3. So he is not doing an AoE at all. I guess we'll go with this. The thing is that we certainly need the Shadow Dragon link up for physical Omega as well as physical Sin. Is there anything else we have to talk about with Omega? The point is, we just have to use this terrible team, GT bosses. Like, it's not a real team. Like, we dodged the super turn 1, which allowed us to kind of, like, you know, continue the fight. But, like, without, like, consistent shenanigans of that level, like, we're just gonna eventually get blown away by Zamasu. GT bosses is not capable of putting up a good fight against either of the two hardest fights in the game, which is Fusion Zamasu and then the Omega event. The pressure exhibited by these bosses with these AoEs all over, it's just too much for the GT bosses team. Omega himself, like Carnival LR Omega, he can be very tanky, and after reviving, he could do damage too, right? Because after reviving, he's going to be super effective against all types, and he's also got the built-in additional. Unfortunately, yet another turn where we don't have big bad bosses again because the game hates me. You know, not too much I could do about it. All right, let's hit this. We want to try and get as many rainbow orbs as possible in case this kid tries to super attack us right away. Let's check with GT first. So we dodged that super to potentially give us a chance. 23 dodge, okay. There we go, bam. Alrighty. Super attack instantaneously. Don't worry, we have a full dodge build here. We eat it. Alright, how do we tank it? That's pretty good. 184. We'll take that. 4 million attack stat. Not great. I mean, you could certainly point out that we don't have Shadow Dragon up, which is 20% attack and defense. We don't have Big Bad Bosses up, which is 25% attack and defense. But do those attack stat numbers look good to you guys? Like, the point is, you guys know, I will be like, it's okay. The attack's not the craziest, but he's good defensively. That's what we want. But the problem is that Omega specifically must be run on GT bosses, and GT bosses has no damage whatsoever. Omega had to carry everything on his back, and he can't. He can't do enough damage to completely carry the team on his shoulders. If they were going to do this GT bosses bullshit, they needed to make him significantly better, and they did not do that. They didn't make him good enough. LR Omega is not good enough. I see no reason why any player should summon for him. I mean, you know, if you're a huge Omega fan or if it's really going to make you happy or something, sure. But, I mean, Omega is not going to help too much. If you could debuff the fight, Omega can actually just be outright dominant, because he does have a passive debuff of minus 25% attack and defense for enemies. He has a debuff on his active skill, which you could use the active skill on turn 3 if the enemy can be debuffed. Then on his 12 key, actually, Omega does have pretty decent super attack effects if we take a look at this, right? So Omega's 12 key, he's getting 30% defense, colossal damage, lowers attack, high chance to stun. Pretty good. 18 key is 50% defense, mega colossal damage, lowers enemy attack and defense, and then seals. Pretty good, right? So he has these debuffs all over, which is good, but it's not like there's a ton of places where we could actually utilize those. Any Super Battle Road stage that he can participate in should be pretty good. Wait, this friend Omega's not even link level 10? Oh my Jesus, dude. It's impossible. You guys think you're going to be finding a ton of friend Omegas? This is the type of bullshit you're going to get. You can't do this. Like, you can't put, like, a character like this on the friends list with level 6 big bad bosses, man. You can't. That's too tough. You know, if Omega came out yesterday, maybe, but he didn't come out yesterday. And then you guys know, we always die on the friend unit. Like, it's actually a thing. Like, it really is. Any of these categories gets a Super Battle Road stage. We certainly could be in business. Again, Omega would be very dominant in a Super Battle Road stage. He has GT bosses, Shadow Dragon Saga, Full Power, Inhuman Deeds, okay. What is that? Power Absorption, Battle of Fate, Transformation Boost, and then Powerful Comeback. So, you know, maybe his defensive abilities could be decent on those. One other major issue for Omega that happens, and this is something that is going to actually rear its ugly head, by the way, is how Omega, his Rainbow Orb changing, I've had this happen before. How many turns does his Rainbow Orb changing last? It's part of his intro. So he, you know, does his intro animation, changes Int Key Spheres to Rainbow Key Spheres only for the first 7 turns, which is just no good. The fact that, he should not have time-gated Rainbow Orb changing, because he really does rely on Rainbow Orb changing too, getting the 7% damage reduction per Rainbow Orb as, you know, obtained, plus he's got the 5% damage reduction per GT bosses category ally. He just needs, like, way more, kind of like, consistency than he's gonna get. It could work well if you also have Tech Sin around, but, I mean, Tech Sin is obviously not very good. Alright, okay, we got Baby. Oh my god, dude, wait, hold on, wait, are we... I'm like, assaulting Omega non-stop, and we're kinda... I mean, do I point... I mean, people get so mad about the dodge thing. Do I point out that this run is only going because we dodged a super? Like, am I allowed to say this, or am I breaking the rules or something? Alright, so now Omega, or now Fusion Zamasu can't super. I still don't see how we could possibly win, though. Because Fusion Zamasu just hits too hard. These GT bosses characters suck. Like, they're fodder. Like, these GT bosses doesn't have real characters, man. We did just recently get the GT Cell and Frieza. I actually haven't done their 55% video yet. I have to do that. But, like, they suck. Because, I mean, they're a Battlefield LR, 55%. No free-to-play LR is worth a goddamn that isn't able to be rainbowed day one. They're worthless losers. Because by the time you could get dupes into these characters, it's like they've released the Fusion Zamasu fight or something, right? Like, literally, we have 2 free-to-play LRs sitting here. I mean, I guess 3 if you count the LR Team Bardock, who are just sitting here waiting for dupes in LR Pilaf, right? And then we have the GT Cell and Frieza. I mean, bro, we're going to be getting Blue Zone UI Goku, most toxic boss in Dokkan history, in a month and a half. You know, LR Pilaf, well, he missed his mark. You know, his time was before we could even rainbow him. I was top 300, I think, right? Top 300 in the last 2 world tournaments. And I was not top 1 local in either world tournament, despite getting top 300. Right, so I have 2 copies of Pilaf, right? Do you think that's going to allow him to work in these types of fights? So, like, if their grand plan for GT bosses was watch us buff it with free-to-play LR, ain't gonna help, actually. Sorry, Dokkan. Alright, we'll actually be able to get big bad bosses here. I don't think I could put... STR Super 17 kind of sucks balls, right? Like, I don't think we could put him in slot 1 here. We'll play this, sure.
お前は俺、俺はお前、一つになるのだ。究極の人造人間の力を味わいたい。
一気にこの星ごと吹き飛ばしてやる。この星もろとも消えてなくなれ。
Alright, so we do 3 million damage on that, which is ass. Like, you know, obviously that's not very good. But the thing about Omega's active, again, the main value from it to me seems to be the debuff. So we could do Omega's active if the enemy is attack down or defensive down on turn 3 or turn 6. And then he greatly raises attack temporarily, does ultimate damage, but then lowers enemy attack and defense by 30% and attack breaks them. So it's like, that is good. But again, it's like, this guy is just designed to debuff the enemy, and that doesn't help us here. I mean, the real bosses, the bosses that we would need help for, we can't debuff them, so it doesn't do anything. It sucks. Again, Super 17, right, is not good enough to tank this guy. I don't think he is. What is that? That's just brutal beatdown at the. No, that's Fierce Battle, and Fear and Faith. Okay. We could hit this. Certainly, trusting Omega is smarter than Super 17. Again, I don't think Super 17 is very good. Though that the attack at the start would not be good. Let's just hit this. All right, we'll at least be able to get a little bit more footage of Omega here. I mean, very quickly this turned into like an actual like we got like a decent run going. So we're able to kind of like show what Omega can do, and I mean, you guys could see like these 7 million attack sets and shit like that. I mean, he's getting the additional every time, and we could see he's super effective against all types as well. So this is the one that got the revive. There's a triple super, but like, look at this damage. Like, this is not damage. And again, I could live with it if we have Piccolo Jr. over there as a wrecking ball or some shit like that, but we don't on GT bosses. So it just sucks. Like, they did a terrible job with him. Okay. Super 17, with him being able to super first, we should be good. I don't think we have to worry about attacks right here. I think Super 17 in slot 1 would have been a little bit scarier. Okay, there's that, sure. Oh, alright, so... I guess technically, although this is the friend Omega, so you guys know he has a terrible build. Yeah, I mean, that counts. There's only one, yeah.
一気にこの星ごと吹き飛ばしてやる。この星もろとも消えてなくなれ。
All right. So, I mean, this is. I wish it was my. Like, if we had my Omega right here, we'd be in a much better spot. I mean, this is not terrible because all the attacks are aimed at Omega right there. But I mean, I think in order to win, we would almost need the super attack to be aimed at Frieza, and Frieza would have to dodge another super. This is not a Rainbow Omega, though. I mean, we do have all these links up, but... Alright, let's hit this. That'll heal us a bit. And then we'll get Frieza super attack. Second Zamasu connects with a super, we lose. I guess maybe we could have attack braked it right there. Oh, he's taking damage. I mean, he's not rainbowed, but, I mean... yeah, there's not many Rainbow Omegas around. You don't exactly find Omega. Like, I'm planning on maybe doing a long showcase for Omega. I'm going to wait, because, okay, there is one character that's going to come out soon, the Rildo, who I do think Rildo actually would certainly be a nice buff to GT bosses. This connects, we lose, which it does, yeah, because the friend doesn't have a Dutch build. But, I mean, yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, 400k, I'll certainly take that. Like, if that was my Omega with all the extra stats and stuff like that, like, he would have eaten that very reasonably. I mean, it makes sense after he super attacks, he gets a lot of extra defense and stuff like that. But, like that, literally the entire run was only because we got a hidden potential system dodge early on, too. Like, Omega, he can handle the damage thrown at him, but the rest of the team crumbles around him, right? Like, it's like Kale on crack is what it is with Omega. Like, Kale, you just have to bring one shitty character, and the rest of the team could be good. Unfortunately for Omega, the entire team has to be shitty, right? Like, this is GT bosses. This is it. Like, the problem is it's failure after failure after failure after failure. They are a failure. They're just terrible. Super 17 is a failure. Baby is a failure. This guy. Just all failures. And then they expect you to run this team. And they expect you to summon for Omega Shenron, who has to be running this team. Right? Like, again, I'm gonna drop a long video for him. I'll try. I guess I could have, like, Nano and Diddy and them set friends and stuff like that. But, like, bro, like, it's just, like, him and his team are not good enough. Like, the only way we could actually beat these fights is perfect RNG, right? Like, the super attack comes in and we dodge it every single time. But that's not a real team. We're talking about a team with, like, a 0% win rate in the actual tough fights with bosses who actually have crazy pressure. Fusion, Zamasu, and the Omega fight are like, just gonna be nigh impossible for this team. These characters can't handle that. So, let me know what you guys think of LR Omega. Global players, do not fall for it. Like, this guy is the worst release of 2023. He's just the worst. It sucks because he has, like, good stuff in his kit. Rainbow Orb changing, huge damage reduction, revive, cool active skill, lots of debuffs. Like, he's got a lot of stuff, but it's just they completely failed. They completely failed.